Yes, very good afternoon, guys. So, here we are again for the discussion of Geography Optional Paper 1 2023. It was held on the last Sunday it was, and I hope you must have gone through that paper as well. देखा भी होगा सबने. Okay. And yes, the paper it was as usual on the expected line. I don't really find कि paper बहुत ज़्यादा on unexpected line है, या maybe like having some like difficult areas to deal with, though there are few, okay, and but still on like large like for a picture you will find it is more or less on the expected lines. Now see, one thing that you guys have to realize, that this paper is absolutely in connection with the syllabus. ठीक है? Just like before starting with this discussion, what we should discuss with the very basics of, right, what this syllabus, this paper is all about. So I feel जैसा weightage था usual in the previous year papers as well, you'll find the same weightage that is with this examination as well, okay, this paper as well. The most important element, as you all know guys, that is syllabus. जब तक syllabus clarity नहीं होगी, unless and until you don't have say which area or which section is basically forms a part of section A, section B or any other area, you won't be able to deal with, okay, those particular questions. So the first thing I'd say, syllabus is very important. Second, read on each of this sub-unit or subtopic of syllabus, what UPSC expect, you should have your own notes. कैसे रहेंगे वो भी डिस्कस करेंगे वैसे, but say on every key point or sub point of our syllabus you will find there are like questions were asked, not all but yeah, बहुत सारे areas जो है absolutely syllabus से ही pin pointed connection है उनका. Okay, so syllabus subtopics you have to, and then questions are all approachable, absolutely approachable questions है. उसमें भी section A like physical geography and then human geography, you will find this all questions are absolutely approachable, provided scoring कब होगा, when you able to successfully incorporate these diagrams or figures wherever possible. जहाँ भी हो सकता है, what you guys are supposed to add, incorporate that respective diagram or figures into it. And what, along with the wherever possible references to adequate references to the name of scholars, queries and current affairs and data. In fact, you will find कि इस क्वेश्चन में, इस पेपर में, you will find there are many questions as such. Those are what having like those just could be started with the data as well. Not all absolutely, but फिर भी बहुत सारे questions है जो हम simply based on data से start कर सकते हैं. Food and nutrition problems in the developing countries. Yeah. यहाँ पे definition से या just like in a common way we are not supposed to what, we have to start this particular questions, okay, many questions in fact, just with the help of data. कुछ facts है, कुछ theoretical questions है, there you need to start it with the definition or with the core proposition of the theory, and like maybe on some instance maybe just like in different way as well. So we'll look for कि क्या different ways हो सकते हैं, what exactly those different approaches through which we are supposed to deal with this particular question. Okay, so in and all you will find 8 क्वेश्चंस रहेंगे, जस्ट लाइक अगेन यू मस्ट बी अवेयर अबाउट, बट फिर भी पूरे पेपर में आपको 8 क्वेश्चंस मिलेंगे. क्वेश्चन 1 एंड क्वेश्चन 5 ईच कैरीज 5 क्वेश्चंस and they both are mandatory to attempt. You cannot have like any escape, just like for this 2 question. However, फिर सेक्शन A से आपको कोई एक क्वेश्चन करना है, सेक्शन B से और 2 क्वेश्चन कर सकते हो, या सेक्शन A से 2 एंड सेक्शन B से 1. So like it's a plain game that which area or what particular say the branch of geography, whether physical or whether human, you are having kind of connect with, okay, or hand over, right, जहाँ पे आपको ज़्यादा comfortable है, you guys are supposed to address that particular area. So without wasting much time, देखो पहले start करते हैं like the first question. श्वेता पेपर देखा है? Yes, देख लिया है, and it seems कि समझ भी आ गया होगा, है ना? Yeah. So see first, what is geostrophic wind? Explain the relationship between barometric slope and air circulation. I am telling you, बहुत सारे questions है in optional paper 1 which you know just could be started with the mere definition, just with the mere definition. के मेयर डेफिनेशन से हम देख सकते हैं, सिंपली लाइक स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं दैट पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन, एंड दिस पर्टिकुलर वन राइट इज जस्ट ऑफ दिस कैटेगरी, जहां दिस क्वेश्चन इज ऑफ क्लाइमेटोलॉजी, राइट. देखो पेपर में जस्ट लाइक बिफोर अगेन गोइंग इनटू, देखो हम इस डिस्कशन इज जस्ट बिकॉज दैट इज व्हाट यू नो विद वेरी स्टिपुलेटेड टाइम ड्यूरेशन 2 आवर्स और दैट वे, राइट. तो हम बहुत ज़्यादा इन डेप्थ तो क्वेश्चन डिस्कस नहीं कर पाएंगे, बट स्टिल व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग आई विल ट्राई माई बेस्ट कि आपको इंट्रोडक्शन, बॉडी, कंक्लूजन या और कोई जो डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स है, यू गाइज जस्ट कुड हैव यू नो लाइक द बेटर एक्सप्लेनेशन विद इट, ओके. एंड ऑनलाइन गाइज लेट मी नो कि ये जो स्क्रीन है आपको रीडेबल है या नहीं, इट जस्ट बिकॉज देर आर सम हैंड रिटन कंटेंट्स ओवर देयर, सो एज वेल लेट मी नो वेदर रियली इट इज रीडेबल और नॉट. So, see what is geostrophic wind? अब सिंपली स्टार्ट ही आपको करना है इंट्रोडक्शन. जियोस्ट्रॉपिक विंड ज़्यादा कोई केस ही नहीं है. That what you have to, you just need to mention what is geostrophic wind. So geostrophic wind is what? Like it is a upper air wind which is having a typical condition that it follows or that it fulfills. That there the geostrophic winds is a result between or result after the balance of Coriolis force and pressure gradient force. Coriolis force or pressure gradient force, when these two force successfully balance each other, right, you will find like this wind then blows somehow perpendicular to both, and this is what like lead to geostrophic wind. Those blows parallel to isobars and that too in upper atmosphere usually, right. तो lower surface पे भी हो सकता है, but yeah mainly in upper atmosphere you will find that explanation over, okay, or that formation of wind. Then अब देखो definition तो clear हो गई है, right. Definition, yes, that is pretty much clear. Then how to start with this particular question? तो क्वेश्चन बॉडी इट इज सिंपली विद डायग्राम, जहां पर आपको डायग्राम ड्रॉ करनी ही पड़ेगी दिस पर्टिकुलर वे, एंड एज इजी एज, राइट, इट इज नॉट वेरी डिफिकल्ट एज सच टू यू नो go through this or draw this particular diagram. With diagram explain its characteristics. if ये क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है like say what is geostrophic wind, and just merely defining question is not you know rightly addressing the demand of the question. तो हमको करना पहले ये है कि definition, एक diagram there, and then characteristics of wind. What are the characteristics? Characteristics are like as simple like this wind blows parallel to isobar. They are usually in the upper air streams. These jet streams or Rossby winds are as well examples of this geostrophic winds, right? They are blowing at comparatively high speed. They are blowing at comparatively high speed, right? 3, 4 characteristics, 5 characteristics, they are fair enough. तो पहला जो demand of the question you will find that is rightly been addressed, and then you will find next to it is what the second part of the question. देखो क्वेश्चन है 10 मार्कर, राइट. नाउ 5 क्वेश्चंस इन द क्वेश्चन 1A, तो दैट इज एब्सोल्युटली 10 मार्कर. So second is what? Explain the relationship between barometric slope and air circulation. आई होप ये दोनों भी टर्म आपको बहुत क्लियर रहेगी. बैरोमेट्रिक स्लोप, देखो बैरोमीटर क्या होता है? बैरोमीटर इज सिंपली द यूनिट टू मेजर फॉर मेजरमेंट ऑफ प्रेशर. अब बैरोमेट्रिक स्लोप मतलब क्या होगा? See, barometric slope matlab slope is something like in this particular way, like that is usually having high value to low value, rich to poor, high temperature to low temperature. So that is what a temperature slope, right? So for barometric slope, it must be, as it counts pressure, you will find this slope is what defined based on high pressure and low pressure, है ना? बैरोमेट्रिक स्लोप का मीनिंग ही हो रहा है हाई प्रेशर एंड लो प्रेशर, एंड वी कैन अल्टरनेटिवली राइट इट एज प्रेशर ग्रेडियंट एज वेल. प्रेशर ग्रेडियंट और प्रेशर ग्रेडियंट फोर्स, राइट? तो इसमें सिर्फ एक ही केस है दैट व्हाट यूपीएससी डिड, राइट? सिर्फ यहाँ पे वर्ड ऐड कर दिया बैरोमेट्रिक स्लोप. द रेस्ट यू विल फाइंड एज इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस क्वेश्चन. बहुत ज्यादा डिफिकल्ट बिल्कुल भी क्वेश्चन नहीं है, एंड इन आवर क्लास ऑलरेडी वी आर डन विद द जियोस्टॉपिक क्वेश्चन. क्लाइमेटोलॉजी में ऑलरेडी कवर किया. Then question is asking you for explain the relationship between pressure gradient and air circulation. Yes, so I really don't think so that just to explain the relationship between pressure gradient force or gradient and wind or air circulation is very difficult. The relationship is what simply like air moves from high pressure to low pressure, that defines the very direction of this air. And this air is now known as wind. So there are different types of wind. You must be aware about global wind, temporary winds है और seasonal winds है, and local winds as well, जिस पे क्वेश्चन पूछा भी है in the next questions as well. ठीक है? So what you have to just इतना ही write करना है. What geostrophic wind, diagram, characteristics. Then the second part, explain the relationship between barometric slope and air circulation, right? Then इतना ही कर लो. And conclusion, this wind is actually, or say the winds, geostrophic winds or the general winds are result of pressure gradient force, or having their so significant impact on overall development of climate. Yeah, in the best easy way possible. जितना easy way में आप conclude कर सकते हो, it's up to you. That so 10 marker question. I hope easy to answer category. Second, explain, what is ocean ranching? First demand first, and how are aqua cowboys related to such activities? See, पहले तो आपको ओशन रैंचिंग क्या है ये पता होना चाहिए. अब ओशन रैंचिंग इज लाइक सिंपली लाइक लाइफ स्टॉक रैंचिंग. लाइफ स्टॉक रैंचिंग में क्या होता है कि एनिमल हर्ड्स है या एनिमल लाइफ स्टॉक से उनको हम क्या करते हैं, रेयर करते हैं, right? Just like raising those and for a specific purpose, maybe like for dairy, maybe like say for meat production, maybe like say wool production, whatever. So sheep rearing that. अब now ocean ranching क्या होगा? It is as simple. Say it is the rearing of oceanic animals or marine life. Again, like fishes, maybe shrimps hai, maybe dolphins as well, maybe like say any other species, okay, in the ocean or marine life, and that too with some specific purpose and objectives, right? So like for example, you might have heard about like or seen in the there like circus कि कुछ dolphins है या कुछ और भी species, those are in use, right? तो ये जो एक स्पेसिफिक जो ब्रांच है, ओके, ऑफ ओशनोग्राफी, जहाँ पे लाइफ स्टॉक रेयरिंग का या बायोलॉजी का भी ब्रांच हो सकती है. सो दैट डील्स विद द रेयरिंग ऑफ दोज मेरीन स्पीशीज, दैट इज सिंपली ओशन रैंचिंग. सो फर्स्ट डेफिनेशन में यू हैव टू, बहुत सोचना है ही नहीं, इंट्रोड्यूस कैसे करना है. द क्वेश्चन, ओके, UPSC has herself given you how you guys are supposed to start with that particular question. Ocean ranching, right? So define ranching, example fishing, shrimps है, बहुत सारे cases you can add them. Then explain its nature and spatial. Then what? अब इसका nature क्या है, मतलब यही आपको लिखना है कि how it is supposed to. For example fishing. Fishing में क्या करेंगे कि fish sheets collect करेंगे, then suppose like they are to be treated for time being, right? Then allowed to grow of particular size of those fish sheets, and then they allowed to enter into ocean. अब इसमें क्या होगा, then you have to take care of that, राइट, कि अगर कोई फिश सीड अगर आपने ओशन में डाली है, राइट, मे बी फॉर द पर्पज के फार्मर का या जो फिशरमैन से उनकी फिशिंग एक्टिविटी ज़्यादा हो. Now in that case what you have to take care of that particular seeds, okay, or fish stocks that you have added into that process, or that particular case is ocean ranching. And aqua, next part है how are aqua boys are related to such activities. थोड़ा सा odd, you know, that a different question, absolutely. Like second part, aqua cowboys. Now see, aqua cowboys are simply those who are have, you know, they are so proficient in swimming, they are so proficient, they are so trained how to, you know, like ensure their like this ocean ranching activities over in the oceanic surface. So their duty is what, their role is what, like dispersion of speed, right, dispersion of animal that you want to ranch, okay, or like say rear as, then like protection of them, collection of produce then, and then like surveillance as well. All these activities are like of this cowboys. As simple, right? जैसे कि लाइफ स्टॉक रेयरिंग में काउबॉयज होते हैं, जस्ट इन अ सेम वे. आपने देखा भी होगा कोई हैट वाला जैसा बंदा जो रहेगा जो हॉर्स पे जा रहा है, तो लाइक काइंड ऑफ ए काउबॉय. एंड ओवर हियर एक्वा काउबॉयज आर सिंपली दोज हु आर प्रीटी मच ट्रेन्ड फॉर ओशन ranching activity or ocean rearing activities, like for oyster as well, like for maybe other as well. We'll find कि connect है. Am I audible now, guys? Stop over audio. Am I audible, guys? Please let me know. Okay. So now, ठीक है, और फिर conclusion just on a simple line, whatever. Thus, ocean ranching is one of the most important activity, like that forms a part of blue economy. You can connect with it, okay, or like it is one of the best way to explore the natural oceanic resources there. Yeah, you can absolutely connect it that way. Then first C, देखो फर्स्ट 5 क्वेश्चन जो रहेंगे ये ऑलवेज लाइक यू विल फाइंड ऑफ 10 मार्कर्स. तो अभी भी 10 मार्कर है. वी आर नॉट सपोज टू एक्सप्लेन लाइक अ लॉट, राइट. वी आर सपोज टू कीप आवर सेल्फ मोर कंसाइज, मोर प्रिसाइज व्हाट क्वेश्चन इज आस्किंग फॉर. So third question, explain the natural processes of soil enrichment and its impact on food production. Already this particular case or topic we have covered in our class as well. बायोजियोग्राफी में सॉइल में हमने देखा है कि सॉइल एनरिचमेंट क्या होता है. देखो यहाँ पे की टर्म है ऑफ क्वेश्चन सॉइल एनरिचमेंट. एंड व्हाट यू हैव टू, देन यू हैव टू डिफाइन फर्स्ट व्हाट इज सॉइल एनरिचमेंट. Soil enrichment is improvement in the nutrition, improvement in the humus, improvement in the overall quality of soil, as known as like soil enrichment as in. Yes, soil enrichment ये होगा कि जिससे you will find say soil is getting new you know enriched with or newly added minerals into it that makes it rather more productive and more fertile. So if you have done this with this definition in introduction, next क्या करना है हमको, body. Yeah? Introduction, body, main body and conclusion. Then what you have to, question is asking for, explain the natural processes. See, question is of natural processes. The question is not asking you for any processes. क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है नेचुरल प्रोसेसेस, इट मींस नो फर्टिलाइजर यू आर सपोज टू ऐड जो मैन मेड आ रहा है, राइट, नो फर्टिलाइजर और पेस्टिसाइड्स और एनी अदर न्यूट्रिएंट जो हम मैन मेड कर रहे हैं। नेचुरली क्या मीन्स है, किसी भी टाइप ऑफ सॉइल में टू ऐड और एनरिच न्यूट्रिएंट्स इनटू इट, you will find like there are different processes, as in you will find say the process of weathering and erosion. Erosion it itself contributes for process of soil erosion. देखो again connect करना है हमको with the geographical term. Your answer should look like of geography. ऐसे ना लगे कि वो GS वाला आंसर है, no. What you have to write those geographical specific cases. Then climate, natural process है, किसी climate में अगर over rainfall है या more rainfall है, you will find water is itself a nutrient that is carrying along with it another nutrients and getting enrichment of soil. Then natural processes, you will find like role of biotic factors. Naturally, like plants, like animals, you will find flora and fauna, they themselves add this nutrients into soil. Yes, so ये भी हो गया naturally enrichment process, you will find, okay. And like maybe like these are major enrichment processes. Apart from this, there are man-made processes, as you can further connect with the like organic enrichment, जो कि plant life के ही connect में, okay. And then at the end, conclusion, thus soil enrichment, we need to understand the natural process of soil enrichment so that human induced soil alteration just could be minimized and natural enrichment just could be promoted. एक और factor है देखो यहाँ पे, like enrichment process led by volcanoes. Yes, enrichment process itself led by volcanoes. volcano भी क्या कर रहा है, volcano भी nutrients and minerals add कर रहा है into the soil, and that makes this soil rather pretty much enriched. I hope you impact of see, question is not asking you for any of this. Acha, impact of sorry. To explain the natural processes of soil enrichment and the impacts on food production. Now, second factor क्या रहेगा, impact on food production. See, good. तो yes, देखो impact क्या हो रहा है. Impacts you will find it leads to increase in productivity of soil. है ना, soil enrichment हुआ है तो you will find it sustains or it increases more carrying capacity of soil, जिसमें number of bacteria, number of viruses you find those can sustain. It as well impact on food production. It as well impact on diversity of food. The more soil is enriched, you will find diverse food just could be produced. The soil, if enriched, you will find it ensures the nutritional enrichment of food. It ensures nutritional enrichment of food. Yes, good. So, this is how this soil enrichment is as well impacts on food production on a positive way. Got it? And then conclusion. Okay. So, third. Next, D. First का D है. So, how is deep ecology as a concept is different from shallow ecology. So, see, like in our environment section, usually ये discuss करते हैं हम कि deep ecology और shallow ecology क्या है. फिर भी, see, deep ecology and shallow ecology. Now, there are two concepts in ecological studies which actually like how man and environment relationship should be. That in shallow ecology, there is like a kind of a shallow understanding about man and environment relationship, where what it's supposed to like nature or environment is somehow inferior, and it only should try to manage with the living standard of human life. No doubt we will try to conserve environment, we will try to protect ecology, but without compromising our standard of living. For example, हम क्या करेंगे, प्लास्टिक यूज तो करेंगे, ठीक, बट उसमें क्या करेंगे, जस्ट बिकॉज के ओवर प्लास्टिक का प्रोडक्शन है, व्हाट वी विल ट्राई टू लिमिट लाइक इट अप टू 50 माइक्रोन ओनली, राइट. तो इससे यू नो दैट यू आर नॉट रियली कॉम्प्रोमाइजिंग विद व्हाट दोज फैक्टर्स लीडिंग टू एनवायरमेंटल डैमेज. You are just trying to compromise only up to the level where your standard of living would be get affected. ये हो गया shallow relationship between man and ecology. And it as well considered the man, it should consider other animals and plants or living life as in equal mode. ऐसे नहीं समझना है हमको कि man is rather superior and the rest are just in order to fulfill the needs of human being. That is a shallow ecology concept. However, in deep ecology concept, you will find that yes, it recognizes the innate value of every living organism. It considers every living organism as like human, like all they are equal, and it's the moral responsibility of human being to protect all of them. Okay, and then फिर क्या करना होगा? You have to consider like every existence of life. The living environment as a whole should be respected. The proponents of deep ecology believe that the world does not exist as a resource to freely exploited by humans. While in shallow में क्या होगा? Shallow ecologists do wish to save the nature, but only for the satisfaction of human. देखो उसका मीनिंग ये है, and I believe एक बार concept if you are having clarity, you can absolutely connect it with this way. So this is how you are supposed to, and it's always good to remember whenever, right, a kind of comparison is asked, it to write in table format, right. That is a time saving effort, that is a straight and directed effort है. You at the end, yeah, see, there is no need to start introduction as, you can directly write that way as well, or like the major difference between deep ecology and shallow ecology are as follows, right. Then write directly, and at the conclusion, the two concepts are so different, however we need to find some commonalities between them two and then implement accordingly the way. Okay, that is the case. Then what are fifth, environmental implications of economic geology? See, this question is of geomorphology and that too of applied geomorphology. Applied, that geomorphology, application of all those concepts of geomorphology lead to economic geology. What is economic geology? Then you need to define first. पहले तो ये define करना होगा कि what is economic geology, and introduction is, it should be the way that economic geology is the branch of geomorphological or geological studies which deals with the identification of rocks, resources, minerals and mines and their exploration from the perspective of economics or economical benefits. Example, the exploration of coal from Gondwana region, exploration of petroleum from West Asian sedimentary basin, from Australia, pink diamond from Australia or any other region, you will find economic geology. Then ये तो introduction दे दिया. Then what about body? In body, what you need to address straight the demand. Demand is right environmental implication of economic geology. Now more or less I would say that is like somehow in connection with the mining, right? क्योंकि economic geology, though it is having a broad bit aspect with the mining, but still भी उससे भी you will find it leads to topographical changes because it is asking you for say environmental and impact. So topography and environmental changes that it would lead to. Next, removal of load. It means load, it means burden, that means forest or deforestation that it leads to, or if there is like any lake or water body that needs to be reloaded, okay, or removed. So removal of load or a burden from the surface. Then disasters like landslide that it leads to, yes, economic geology. Then pollution, excessive pollution, you will find uranium contamination in Andhra Pradesh or contamination of groundwater in other rest of the part of the world. In America, in Europe, you will find contamination of groundwater. Then migration, again environmental impact hai, it leads to changing man-environment relationship. Try to connect it with the possibilism, right? और try to connect it with the neo-determinism. तभी आपका आंसर और भी geographical होगा. जैसे economic geology वैसे geography की concept है, but still. And then it all leads to ecosystem balance or imbalance, right? And that is how you need to conclude it accordingly. You can introduce in the conclusion one concept: sustainable economic geology. A simple, thus considering the negative consequences of economic geology, our effort should be for sustainable economic geology. देखो conclude हो गया, done. So this way. So question 1, I am just trying to explain you guys, okay, not in that detail क्योंकि that would rather take 5, 6, 7 hours या उससे भी ज़्यादा लगेंगे, just like going into all details, but still I am trying for कि आपको हर कोई area, हर कोई question equally address हो सके. So that question that was even in test as well. Evidences of paleomagnetism and seafloor spreading have validated that continents and oceans are never stationary. Elucidate with suitable diagram. 20 marks question. And do remember question 1 और question 5 के अलावा अगर A question है किसी भी question में, that means it must be of 20 marks. And B and C are of 15 marks. Okay, तो कोई confusion ऐसे नहीं चाहिए. Then introduction. Now this could be two ways, like you may find other way as well, but say what I personally feel, you can either start with the explanation of these two. What is paleomagnetism, what is seafloor spreading, क्योंकि पूछ ही रहा है आपको कि the concept of paleomagnetism and seafloor spreading, it has made this realization continents are drifting. Yes. So the thing is, we have to either explain these two terms, or either you can start with the continental drift theory in the backset. Yes. Okay, that continental drift theory given by Alfred Wegener was or simply believes in the drifting of the continents. However, his evidences and the forces were unable to explain the exact drifting and its nature. And in this context, paleomagnetism and seafloor spreading have just proposed after 1920s, 30s, say those helped us to validate the fact. And how then those are help us to validate the fact? Right in the main body. The main body में हम यही लिखेंगे कि how they helped us to validate this fact of drifting. Because say this concept has given us the evidences of magnetism, evidences of rocks and edges. It has helped us to further help, like in a way, like to evident the various geomorphological process, nature of continents and oceanic basins, awareness about or understanding about mid-oceanic regions. So this concept of paleomagnetism and then seafloor spreading, it helped us to understand this concept first, and based on this concept, then Morgan, okay, and other scientists in 1960s, what they identified this concept of plate, then the overall concept of tectonic, their boundaries, tectonic boundaries and various landforms that evolved. So सिंपली देखो क्वेश्चन की डिमांड क्या है, क्वेश्चन इज आस्किंग यू फॉर कि एक्सप्लेन हाउ पैलियोमैग्नेटिज्म एंड सी फ्लोर स्प्रेडिंग हेल्प्ड और पेव द वे फॉर प्लेट टेक्टोनिक थ्योरी. बस इतना ही लिखना है, एंड दैट टू लाइक इन योर ओन वर्ड एंड लाइक स्ट्रेच फॉर ऑलमोस्ट 20 marks. So 200-300 words you will find those are good enough actually to write this particular answer. And question is specifically asking you for diagrams. देखो diagrams क्योंकि पूछा ये suitable diagram, you need to draw all those suitable diagrams over there this way. जो भी ऐड कर सकते हो you can do that, right? So absolutely you have to. And in the conclusion, thus this two concept of paleomagnetism and seafloor spreading finds the foundation of new evolving plate tectonic theory. Yes, then हो गया, enough है. That is what the conclusion. So I hope ये 20 marker वाला question you guys are now having clarity. Next question है देखो second B question. Because I am again telling you question basically of the paper 1 they are absolutely straight and clear, trying to fetch your basic understanding about the concept, and it only demands like or it only try to understand how you guys read the demand and then try to present your overall different understanding with innovation over in the exam. That is what I believe this paper is trying to ask for. बाकी कोई concept इतनी unknown है नहीं, right, that you just know like anyone who is preparing this examination just could not answer that particular concept. So it's all about how effectively you innovate that particular idea and then try to present in examination or in your answer. Okay? Next, second B, explain the characteristics and weather conditions associated with anticyclone, giving suitable examples. See, 15 marker question hai, and that is on climatic disasters, okay, or climatic disturbances, atmospheric disturbances, cyclone, temperate cyclone, tropical cyclone, anticyclone, thunderstorm, tornadoes, okay, all these are atmospheric disturbances. And anticyclone जब usually इस पे question नहीं होता, generally cyclone पे question होता है, but this year UPSC had asked a question on anticyclone, right? Still very easy to, कुछ बहुत ज़्यादा आपको सोचना नहीं. See, first introduction कैसे करोगे? No, without any doubt definition of cyclone. देखो इसका meaning ये है anti-cyclone or anti-cyclone, that is opposite to cyclone. So what is cyclone? Low pressure center surrounded by high pressure region with inward blowing where. What is anti-cyclone then or anti-cyclone then? High pressure center surrounded by low pressure region with outward blowing air. Yeah, that is what the simple definition of cyclone, that is atmospheric disturbance. Introduction yahi pe ho gaya. Then what, if possible, examples add karo where these anticyclones are. Generally you will find in North America, where you will find in European region, in temperate region you will find generally around 20 to 40 degree north and south you will find anticyclones are there. Then what? Then explain its characteristics. Main body हमारे पास 200 words है, 250 words है just to explain the same answer, right? So now just do focus on demand of question, explain its characteristics. So what are these? Are like conditions that it requires. Anticyclone requires it can develop on land as well as continent. Like it requires a high pressure center surrounded by low pressure system. It requires enough Coriolis force, and it is very best, right, or advisable, or say the good condition if it has a already cyclonic development in the periphery. If there is like a cyclonic development in the periphery, so that provides high pressure and low pressure system that then integrate and then lead to anticyclone formation. फिर इसका रोटेशन कैसे होता है? देखो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स है, आई होप कि आपको ये पता होगी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स. तो रोटेशन क्लॉकवाइज इन नॉर्दर्न हेमिस्फीयर एंड एंटी क्लॉकवाइज इन southern hemisphere, okay, that as usual, clockwise and anti-clockwise. And then what weather condition that it leads to. See, weather condition of anticyclone, जैसे cyclone जो disaster phenomena है, anticyclone is rather a fair weather phenomena. Cyclone is rather disaster, okay, or disturbance oriented phenomena. However, this anticyclone is fair weather phenomena. Fair weather in a sense what? It is simply that this phenomena, it does not lead to lots of changes like cyclone did or cyclone does, right? साइक्लोन क्या करेगा, बहुत सारे टेम्परेचर, प्रेशर, ह्यूमिडिटी चेंजेस करेगा. हाउएवर फॉर एंटी साइक्लोन यू विल फाइंड जनरली टेम्परेचर बहुत नॉमिनल या एक बिट रेंज में चेंज होगा. Then you will find inversion of temperature phenomena, that is pretty much common over here. It is rather, if it remains stagnant, normal case में it won't lead to a significant rainfall or precipitation. However, if anticyclone remain persistent over a region for a long, in that case only it leads to pollution, it leads to smoke formation. And upper air anticyclones are as well lead responsible for rainfall. So that way done. So देखो definition of anticyclone, then characteristics, then weather condition, and at the end conclusion. Examples like you will find 30, इसके नाम नहीं होते anticyclones, they are not identified with their names. So they are simply like a phenomena in North America, in Europe, in South America, that you have to write it accordingly. Numbers continental, they are not having exactly the identifiable name like for the cyclone. Then question second C, how are ocean currents generated? I guess most predictable question है, and that too for the most predictable movement in the ocean, most direction, most predictable and most accurate, okay, consistent movement of oceanic water in say over space and time, known as ocean current. Definition यही होगा क्योंकि क्वेश्चन पूछ ही रहा है how ocean currents are generated. It's not asking you for definition, but it's asking you for the process of formation. So what? Then definition. Then in the main body अब करना क्या है? You have to arrive at the main body, demand how ocean currents are generated. Then which are those factors? If you remember, right, class में हमने already भी कर रखा है. There are two factors, those are responsible for primary forces and secondary forces for ocean current formation. So primary forces are like winds, then density differences, okay, gravity, Coriolis force and temperature, okay, these are all responsible for ocean current formation. अब इस पे क्या कर सकते हो? See, then write how wind is responsible for ocean current. Like you can connect it with the Indian Ocean, okay, Indian Ocean, equatorial, north equatorial Indian Ocean current. You can connect it with the Kuroshio current as well, right? So that way. Then you can, then in other way you can explain it like density differences and simultaneously temperature and salinity differences. जैसे temperature increase होगा तो ice melt होगा, it drives the cold current, and just to keep a balance you will find upwelling and counter current movement. So deep current and surface current, these two are again at origin. तो कैसे form होता है? Yes, absolutely you can connect it with those factors. Okay, so how ocean currents are generated? These are many factors, those are already mentioned there, and then discuss their effects on climate, and that too with special reference to the Pacific Ocean. So question is specifically asking you, like in a true sense, like for Pacific Ocean currents. So what you can do now? देखो अब इस क्वेश्चन को एड्रेस करने के लिए आपके पास दो अप्रोचेस हैं. The one is what you can, okay, first approach क्या हो सकती है? It's up to you which you find more suitable. एक क्या कर सकते हो कि general impact on climate, and then example like it impacts on temperature, it impacts on humidity, it impacts on rainfall, it impacts on snowfall, it impacts on wind development, it impacts on topography. Desert like for example, that जो कि desert formation जो होते हैं generally cold current के साथ होते हैं. or else other way just could be what you can have current specific climate explanation. करंट स्पेसिफिक क्या करोगे इसमें, जैसे नॉर्थ पैसिफिक है तो क्यूरोशियो करंट है, उसका एक्सप्लेन कर दो, हाउ क्यूरोशियो लीड टू क्लाइमेटिक चेंजेस इन जापान, ओके, एंड इन दैट सराउंडिंग रीजन. देन ओयोशियो करंट, देन यू कैन राइट इट फॉर कैलिफोर्निया इफ यू आर अवेयर अबाउट, अगर नहीं हो तो फिर सेकेंड वाली अप्रोच ज़्यादा सही है. देन एल नीनो और पेरुवियन करंट. यस, you see it depends on your content that you can either follow this approach or you can either follow this approach. क्योंकि दोनों भी केस में हम तो एड्रेस तो डिमांड को करेंगे ही करेंगे. इम्पैक्ट ऑन क्लाइमेट, तो क्लाइमेट के डिफरेंट डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट देंगे हम, और पैसिफिक ओशन के करंट और कोई और भी पॉसिबल एग्जांपल हो तो दे देंगे. और सेकंड में क्या करेंगे, करंट स्पेसिफिक क्लाइमेटिक चेंजेस दैट इट लीड टू. फिर क्यूरोशियो, ओयोशियो, कैलिफोर्नियन, नॉर्थ इक्वेटोरियल करंट है, देन एल नीनो करंट है, वेस्ट विंड ड्रिफ्ट है, वॉट एवर यू फाइंड दैट कंफर्टेबल विद, ओके, बेस्ड ऑन योर कंटेंट. एंड देन एट द एंड, या, so this way, and then conclusion. Thus ocean currents are the best means, okay, or ocean currents are the natural means for climatic modifications on the or across the globe. Done. Just like in the simple way के whatever you have discussed or maybe in futuristic way. अब जैसे paper 1 comparatively theoretical है तो I would recommend to start it on very general tone or general line. Next question. Third A, it must be for 20 marks then. ठीक है. Third A, what are the causes of origin of local winds? देखो क्वेश्चन इज ऑन लोकल विंड्स. अब इसके लिए इंट्रोडक्शन क्या करना है सोचना पड़ेगा क्या? आई वुड से नो. डिफाइन ही कर दो लोकल विंड क्या है. क्या लोकल विंड किस विंड के या तो एक ब्रॉडर एस्पेक्ट में क्या है. यस, यू कैन राइट देन एंड डिस्कस देयर significance on prevailing weather and climate in various regions with suitable examples. देखो क्वेश्चन is having two demands. First demand is comparatively weaker, second is pretty much stronger. तो first में क्या करोगे, start with the nature of local wind along with the examples. Local winds are the movement of air or winds, those are region specific, those are small aerial extent and time specific in nature, maybe in summer, maybe in winter, maybe like say for few hundreds of kilometer. हो गया local wind. Its characteristics, example, Lu in India, Chinook in North America, then Habub or basically Sirocco, Solano, Brickfielder, then Fawn, Mistral, you will find in different parts of the world, right? जिसका map पूरा याद होना चाहिए. Then what the main causes of development of local wind. Now body, main body है क्योंकि question is asking for the formation. So like the wind का movement सबसे पहले origin होगा due to temperature. So differential heating of land and oceanic masses that gives rise to land breeze and sea breeze. So land breeze and sea breeze, draw appropriate diagrams there. You are having that scope as well कि daytime night time में क्या land breeze sea breeze हो रही है. Just do connect with them, and then what, heating and cooling of the mountain slope, katabatic and anabatic winds, you can write it there as well. Katabatic and anabatic wind, like Chinook, write it like say that particular type. Okay, so there you can connect with. Then local winds originated because of the deformation of the air currents, crossing of mountain ranges and physical barriers, just carrying a limited extent, and convectional local winds caused by steep pressure gradients and steep variation in local temperature, like for example Lu. So respective formation process and respective example, that is fair enough to explain how this local winds are formed, right? इतना ही करना है. 4 to 5 reasons ही है, बस वही reasons है, respective example along with the diagram. First part is justified, then rightly addressed. Then discuss their significance on prevailing weather and climatic condition. इफ यू रिमेंबर इन क्लास ऑलरेडी हमने इस चीज पे डिस्कस किया है, ओके, तो डिफरेंट विंड्स है और उनका इम्पैक्ट क्या है, जैसे कि फॉर एग्जांपल चिनूक इज नोन एज स्नो ईटर, द रीजन बीइंग इट हैज इंक्रीज इन टेम्परेचर 20 डिग्रीज और मोर, तो जो भी स्नो एंड इट इज इन द मंथ ऑफ विंटर, सो इट लीड्स टू मेल्टिंग ऑफ स्नो देयर, देन सोलानो सिरोको इट एड्स डस्ट ओवर देयर, राइट, climatic impacts हो रहा है, rise in temperature, those are having their origin from Sahara and ending in two. Then origin of Lu in North Indian or Ganges plain, you will find rise in temperature over along the Indian plain, and that forms the part of climatic conditions. So temperature changes, rainfall changes, then dust storms है या basically atmospheric disturbances है, you can absolutely connect with them. Okay, इसमें भी दो अप्रोच हो सकती है, what you else can do, right, दो अप्रोचेस हो सकती है. देखो सिग्निफिकेंस, राइट, इसको क्या कर सकते हो, एक जनरल सिग्निफिकेंस और एक विंड स्पेसिफिक सिग्निफिकेंस, राइट गाइज. तो जनरल सिग्निफिकेंस इन अ वे कि वो जनरली सिग्निफिकेंस क्या कर रहा है और व्हाट एडवांटेज दैट इट लीड्स टू, एंड मे बी करंट स्पेसिफिक और सॉरी विंड स्पेसिफिक सिग्निफिकेंस यू कैन एज वेल एड इन टू. Fine. So this way. Then at the end conclusion. Then this question is theoretical question and that is of geomorphology. That is of geomorphology. Define peneplains. First part. I believe introduction क्या करना है सोचना ही नहीं है, because already question has given you the way. Define peneplain. So describe the landscape features associated with the peneplains under different geomorphic cycle. I hope ये क्वेश्चन बहुत कम लोगों ने अटेम्प्ट किया होगा, बट या एब्सोल्युटली कैन दिस क्वेश्चन दिस कुड बी डिलेबल. सिर्फ इसमें रीडिंग या इंटरप्रिटेशन में एक हल्का सा डिफरेंस हो सकता है. ठीक, नाउ यू नीड टू डिफाइन पेनीप्लेन्स एंड देन कनेक्टेड विद द डेविस साइकिल. डॉट डायग्राम देयर. So what is peneplain? Peneplain is a low featureless plain that forms an end product of Davis geomorphic cycle. There is very low local relief and having the very limited upliftment that is possible. It is a result of the overall process of weathering and erosion led by different erosional agent. Yeah, that is peneplain, and then in main body, then what diagram draw कर दोगे तो पहला part address हो जाएगा because that is of comparatively less demand, and then many land features are there of different geomorphic cycle जो हमने erosional surfaces में देखा है, like peneplain given by Davis, like peneplain given by Elsie King, like panplain given by Crickmay, each plane and Antrumpf given by Fink. You need to just explain each of them like in few further more lines, having their diagrams. You will find then conclusion. So conclusion, yes, peneplain and various peneplain landforms by different geomorphic cycles are indication of a confusion over on the end product of erosional process. Then हो गया, yeah. So peneplain and that question that is for 15 marks, but yeah, तो हल्का सा different line पे है, but still we can absolutely attempt that particular question. I hope online as well, guys, you are getting it. Okay, so next third का C part again for 15 marks, B or C 15 marks. What are the factors affecting regional ecological changes? How do this affects human health? Two parts है, 15 marks है, 7 and 7.5. Fine. So see, this is of environmental geography, and that is critically mentioned as point in syllabus. Regional ecological changes as well. Contemporary issues में भी आएगा. Now what you have to define first, say like either you can start it with the IPCC report or you can write about ecological changes, regional ecological changes there. regional ecological changes. So what are the regional ecological changes? So simply the changes in the biotic and abiotic factors and their interrelationship over a specific or limited region are regional economic ecological changes. They may be positive, they may be negative. So it may be tilted on one side, it may be tilted on another side, and the best way is to keep a balance between. That must be kind of in conclusion. So then in the body अब करना क्या है, क्वेश्चन पूछ ही रहा है कि फैक्टर्स अफेक्टिंग इकोलॉजिकल चेंजेस, राइट, बैलेंस. So which are those factors? You will find those factors could be natural, this could be anthropogenic. Connect it over here, determinism. या नेचुरल फैक्टर में डिटर्मिनिज्म ऐड कर सकते हो, आर्टिफिशियल फैक्टर में पॉसिबिलिज्म ऐड कर सकते हो, that way. So natural, it may be like tectonic activities, maybe isostatic balance like geomorphic processes, maybe resource balance है, disasters है. It lead to regional changes. You have to add respective example, regional ecological changes. For example, there is like a bushfire in Australia in 2020. There was like a disease outbreak in like COVID-19 itself, that particular case, or maybe disease outbreak in South America, Brazil, Zika, okay, or maybe any other disease as well. You will find there, right? वो हो सकता है, या migration हो सकता है that led by. Then what are the anthropogenic causes of ecological changes? Deforestation, industrialization, construction and urbanization, okay, technological changes, or maybe like say biotic interferences, like for example genetically modified organisms, है ना. बीटी कॉटन क्या है, वही तो है, इंटरफेरेंस तो कर रहे हैं हम, तो बीटी कॉटन, और मे बी फ्यू अदर एग्जाम्पल, और मे बी हम कुछ एक्सोटिक स्पीशीज कहीं ऐड कर रहे हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन इंडिया यू विल फाइंड कांग्रेस ग्रास. क्या कांग्रेस ग्रास इज नॉट नेटिव टू इंडिया, इट वॉज एडेड फ्रॉम added by European or colonialists in India, and now it has led to a huge spread in our country that is now beyond a controllable limit. तो ये क्या है, ये यही है ना regional ecological changes, and these are all factors of these changes. Then how it lead to impact on health? Yes, you will find global warming that it lead to ये impact कर रहा है skin disease, skin cancer maybe, okay, rising pollution, diseases may be airborne disease, waterborne disease, disability, then infertility as well, women related mental and psychological, not women, all in fact mental and psychological diseases that it leads to, respiratory problems that it leads to, right. So all these are like ecological changes and their consequent impact on human health. Question is asking for a human health. बस इसमें respective examples ऐड करने हैं, and you find that answer is rather suitable and complete. Okay. So fourth A, give an account of marine resources, the most easy question I believe, and their economic significance, and how has marine pollution affected such resources. 20 marks. So question simply पूछ रहा है कि what are the marine resources, and in our class already हमने ये सब कुछ चीज़ें देख रखी है, right? देखो बहुत सारे questions होते हैं ऑप्शनल में, you will find those are pretty much predictable, those are straight and clear, right? There are few areas those you have to prepare in advance. आपको एडवांस में ही प्रिपेयर करना है, then you need to write in examination mainly. So what are the marine resources? These are simply any living or non-living elements in oceanic surface, those are having some benefit for human use or say for some biotic use. Then there are different types like marine resources, maybe energy resources हो सकते हैं, maybe mineral resources, maybe biological resources. In addition, you will find marine resources like food and nutritional as well, maybe pharmaceutical or medicinal as well, maybe drinking water related resources, maybe marine resources of trade and transportation, ना. that way. And maybe marine resources of, say, intangible resources like tourism and some research oriented purpose. All these are marine resources. Yes, simple resources का meaning ही देखो simple है, those in like living or non-living being which you can use for some purpose. Like this board is itself a resource, like this electricity, this cable, the mobile that on which you are watching this video are all resources in themselves. ठीक है? Then and their economic significance, देखो ये यहाँ पे है economic significance, like just for the purpose of value addition. You can use this data, like global value added by ocean in the economy is almost or like 15 million, right? Billion in 2010. However, it is more than 30 billion, right, by 2030. So you can absolutely use this kind of quote and then economic significance of this. So next part of the question, how has marine pollution affected such resources? Connect now neo-determinism there. Neo-determinism. Connect it with the any welfare geographical meaning. क्योंकि जब तक इस चीज को कनेक्ट नहीं करोगे, you won't find that is geographical. So फिर how pollution has led to, so what are the causes of this pollution then? Marine pollution. तो बहुत सारी causes है, like you will find sewage जो हम solid waste डाल रहे हैं, ये nutrients है या plastics है या basically transportations है, tourism है, okay, and all other oil, right, oil pollution or that way. These are all the causes of this pollution. And how it then impact on oceanic resources? It impact on, say, first quantity of resources made available to us, है ना? कि pollution अगर है, water pollution हो गया, देखो available होने के बाद accessible नहीं था, right? Then it impact on quality of resources available. Quality of resources available. It impact on affordability of resources available. Whether then that resource may remain affordable or not, pollution चीज़ है, हो सकता है बिल्कुल. You are having number of examples. Then usability of that particular resources, okay. And then yeah, usability ले सकते हो, और भी फिर उसमें affordability, accessibility भी आ सकती है उसमें for poor and all those, right? You will find that it impacts on this way. So this oceanic pollution, you will find having this many impact on marine resources. Quantity पे impact कर सकता है, quality पे impact कर सकता है, उसकी usability पे, उसकी affordability पे, accessibility पे, timely supply पे, you will find many of the aspects. Yes, it absolutely impact on this potential. Then easy question है, like differentiate between the characteristics of organic horizon and mineral horizon in generalized soil profile. Now अब यहाँ पे introduction थोड़ा सा difficult है, मतलब क्योंकि comparison है, so you can directly start with the difference between organic and mineral horizons are as follows. Yeah, if you want, you can define like both the two in advance and then like keeping a chart between them. फिर पहले define कर दो अगर चाहे तो, या फिर chart बना दो, या तो फिर सीधे सीधे start कर दो, difference between them are, right? So it's up to you. Then you must be knowing कि what are like this horizons. Any soil surface is actually made up of different horizons or layers. Soil profile O, A, B, C, D and R. These are the different soil layers. And each of these layers are having some typical properties and characteristics as such too. Those it supports soil productivity then. So O वाला जो है generally you will find is what organic horizon. O जो होता है ये organic horizon और B और C generally mineral rich horizon. Okay. So over in the O you will find depth. You see on which criteria you can differentiate this. These are those criteria. आप इस criteria पे उसको differentiate कर सकते हो. Like depth of organic horizon and mineral horizon, color of organic horizon and mineral horizon, color is like you will find like say dark color or gray color. However, for mineral horizon you will find further more dark color in nature, right? Then texture, right? Texture is basically maybe sandy to loamy, or maybe in mineral horizon you will find texture is rather more deep texture, okay? That is of sand, silt and clay. Nutrient rich, you will find organic से ज़्यादा mineral horizon is rather nutrient rich. Then leaching process is rather more common in organic horizon than that of mineral horizon, though it is subjected to, but still. And then productivity of the soil. So organic horizon is not having direct productivity, however mineral horizon contributes for productivity. बस इस वे में you can say address this particular characteristics and difference. देखो क्वेश्चन पूछा है almost like 15 mark, हमारे पास 6 to 7 points होने चाहिए just to address this. And then in the conclusion there is the study, okay, of mineral and organic horizons help us to understand or improve the productivity of Indian soils, yeah, global soils, the way you find it suitable, the way you find it comfortable, right? I hope you are pretty much clear with this. Then very common and well known area or question as such, how does inversion of temperature occur? Explain its significance on local weather with suitable examples. तो आपको सबसे पहले एक्सप्लेन करना है कि इन्वर्जन ऑफ टेम्परेचर क्या है, एंड यू मस्ट बी अवेयर अबाउट कि देखो नॉर्मली क्या होता है किसी भी सरफेस पे विथ इंक्रीज इन हाइट टेम्परेचर डिक्रीजेस, जैसे जैसे ऊपर जाओगे टेम्परेचर डिक्रीज होगा. बट इन्वर्जन ऑफ टेम्परेचर में क्या होगा, जैसे जैसे ऊपर जाओगे टेम्परेचर भी इंक्रीज होता जाएगा. दिस रिलेशनशिप इज नोन एज इन्वर्जन ऑफ टेम्परेचर. So when height and temperature in like during some exceptional time of the period, okay, or year or maybe space are directly proportional, known as inversion of temperature. Question पूछ रहा है how does inversion of temperature occur? अब now it's best, right? Introduction में तो आपने definition कर दी inversion of temperature. Then in body it's good to define it with respect to its type of formation. So there are 2-3 different types. Radiation inversion, okay, I am not going to explain it again now, but आपको पता होगा guys, radiation inversion is there, okay, there is like frontal inversion is there, you will find advection inversion is there, and there is like say drainage inversion is there. So keeping all those different types of inversion, explain how this inversion of temperature occurs. Simply करना क्या है आपको, ऊपर आपको करना है high temperature, ऊपर ले आना है हाई टेम्परेचर, एंड ओवर हियर लो टेम्परेचर. सो विथ इंक्रीज इन हाइट टेम्परेचर increases. That is what the fact that you need to establish. But however you need to be much aware about, you need to revise your concept. क्लास में हमने ऑलरेडी कर रखा है ये चीज़, ठीक है. रेडिएशन इन्वर्जन है या ड्रेनेज इन्वर्जन है या एडवेक्शन इन्वर्जन है या से फ्रंटल इन्वर्जन है, ऑलरेडी वी आर डन विथ. ओके, सो एक्सप्लेन हाउ डज दिस फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन बाय मीन्स ऑफ टाइप्स ऑफ इन्वर्जन, वो ज़्यादा सही रहेगा, ठीक. देन एक्सप्लेन इट्स सिग्निफिकेंस ऑन लोकल वेदर विथ सुटेबल एग्जाम्पल्स. So what are the significance of this case? You will find it stops the movement of air, less rainfall that it leads to, fog formation and lower visibility, thunderstorms and tornadoes, and diurnal variations of temperature. ठीक है, तो ऑलरेडी यू कैन गो थ्रू इट. एनसीईआरटी में इसका अच्छा खासा एक्सप्लेनेशन दे रखा है. यू कैन जस्ट फ्रॉम देयर डू कनेक्ट दिस पर्टिकुलर केस, इन्वर्जन ऑफ टेम्परेचर. देन कंक्लूजन. Thus, inversion of temperature is part of world global climate. However, it is exceptional, and we need to understand to improve our predictability of weather and climatic conditions. Then, yes, I believe this way just could be better. How you can connect with the or conclude the answer. Next, section B. And that is ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी. तो फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी डन है. फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी दो डन नहीं होगा क्योंकि उसको जहां पे भी पॉसिबल है आपको यूज करना है, इवन इन ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी एज वेल. तो देखो ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी अगेन कंपल्सरी क्वेश्चन है, क्वेश्चन 5 A B C D E. Each has been asked for 10 marks. तो पहला क्वेश्चन देखो बेसिक्स पे है, एरियल डिफरेंशिएशन, एंड दैट वी हैव ऑलरेडी डन इन आवर क्लास. विल फाइंड explain the sequential development of areal differentiation as fundamental concept in human geography. Yes, the best. See, अब ये आंसर ना मतलब it is trying to fetch your understanding about the areal differentiation in human geography. तो अब इसको बहुत इजी क्वेश्चन है, एब्सोल्युटली इजी क्वेश्चन है. फर्स्ट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड और यू नीड टू राइट इन इंट्रोडक्शन aerial differentiation. Aerial differentiation, it is lying at the very core. Earth surface is highly differentiated, right? Sorry, highly like differentiable, right? Earth surface is highly uneven, and that it leads to a difference between areas and region. It is a part of regional geography, and this approach of regional studies was existence in ancient school of thoughts as well. अब वो जो स्कूल ऑफ थॉट वाला जो टॉपिक था वहां से आपको उसको स्ट्रेच करना है कि एरियल डिफरेंशिएशन कहाँ है. देन यू हैव टू मेंशन देयर ग्रीक स्कूल ऑफ थॉट, स्ट्रेबो, टॉलेमी. यू कैन टॉलेमी रोमन में भी आएगा, ठीक है. देन देयर लेटर यू नीड टू राइट अबाउट अरब्स, हाउ अरब्स वेर लाइक believed in or the believer of this particular case as well. Al-Biruni, yeah, Ibn Battuta, yeah, Al-Masudi, you will find those are all. Then in modern thoughts, Karl Ritter are the most important. Then name that you have to mention, Vidal de Blas, who had presented phase and milieu concept. The place and milieu concept is more or less of aerial differentiation or regional studies as. Right. Then उसके बाद आया the nature of geography, Hartshorne. Okay, Richard Hartshorne in 1939 in his book he has mentioned like aerial or coined this term of aerial differentiation where two areas are differentiated, and by that means we are supposed to study. And after quantitative revolution, right, or during quantitative revolution, this aerial differentiation was somehow covered up, right? It somehow went into the background. And 1980s के बाद इसका फिर से रिवाइवल हुआ. Yes, and that is what you need to write this thing in terms of flow chart. यही ड्रॉ करना है आपको in terms of flow chart, starting from Greek, then Romans, then modern thoughts, then modern thoughts, then Hartshorne, and then quantitative revolution and arrival again in 1980s. फ्लो चार्ट बना दो, एक्सप्लेन कर दो, यू विल बी गेटिंग द बेस्ट पॉसिबल मार्क्स फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन. In conclusion, thus aerial differentiation as a branch of or approach of regional studies has again gained a momentum, right, in administration or maybe in other studies as well. Yes, देखो next question B, 5B, discuss critically food and nutrition problems associated with the developing world. Associated with the developing world. Question is of economic geography. Question है देखो economic geography को वाला question है, and is asking you for food and nutrition problems associated with the developing world. So it's good to start with the data, क्योंकि क्वेश्चन ही पूछ रहा है फूड एंड न्यूट्रिशन. तो मैं यहाँ पे ट्राई करूंगा जस्ट टू ऐड द डेटा दैट इज गिवन बाय वर्ल्ड हंगर इंडेक्स और मे बी फूड एंड एग्रीकल्चर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, उससे रिलेटेड कोई डेटा, या इंडियन किसी भी एक इंटरनेशनल एजेंसी का अगर डेटा हो, एंड दैट इज व्हाट विद द फैक्ट एंड फिगर अबाउट फूड एंड न्यूट्रिशन, एब्सोल्युटली अप्रिशिएटेड. देन इन मेन बॉडी व्हाट यू हैव टू, the measures for food and nutrition, right? Sorry, the reasons for food and nutrition problem. अब क्या reasons है? Maybe natural reasons just could be there, maybe man-made reasons as well, है ना guys? Right? Natural भी हो सकते हैं और man-made भी हो सकते हैं. Natural reasons like कि food and nutrition problem क्यों है? Now maybe in any region soil productivity, soil is less productive, less fertile. Yeah, मे बी लाइक क्लाइमेट ओवर रीजन इज हाईली वेरिएबल, ये भी हो सकता है कम है, या मे बी नेचुरल डिसीजेस, राइट, एंड द नेचर मोर हाई, राइट, और हाई इंटेंसिटी, और मे बी डिजास्टर्स आर प्रीटी मच प्रीवैलेंट देयर, राइट, डिजास्टर्स भी हो सकते हैं, डिपेंड्स ऑन। या मैन मेड प्रॉब्लम्स क्या हो सकते हैं कि क्यों फूड एंड न्यूट्रिशन अवेलेबल नहीं है, द रीजन मे बी स्टेजेस ऑफ ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट, जो कि हम डेवलपमेंट में देखेंगे डेमोग्राफिक ट्रांजिशन मॉडल, और मे बी रोस्टर स्टेजेस ऑफ डेवलपमेंट, यू कैन कनेक्ट इट देयर, ओके, स्टेजेस ऑफ डेवलपमेंट, और मे बी लाइक फूड लॉसेस, मे बी ड्यू टू accessibility and affordability, है ना, accessibility and affordability, may be due to pollution of food, may be due to pollution of food, and all these factors lead to maybe wars between, right, तभी भी फूड एंड न्यूट्रिशन नहीं होगा डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज में। यू कैन लिस्ट मेनी फैक्टर, हमने 10 से 12 तो अभी लिस्ट कर लिए, यू कैन ऐड मेनी मोर एज वेल, सो ऑल दिस फैक्टर्स आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर दिस वन। नाउ टाइप्स ऑफ दिस फूड एंड न्यूट्रिशन प्रॉब्लम क्या है, मे बी ड्यू टू अफोर्डेबिलिटी, मे बी ड्यू टू एक्सेस, एंड मे बी टाइमली सप्लाई। देन इन द कंक्लूजन concluded with the way forward, how you and me or developing countries can solve the problems of food and nutrition by promoting sustainable food practices, by involving all farmers and citizens, like say for food movement, as in then creating awareness to reduce the losses and strengthening the global food supply chain. Yes, that is how you can ensure the overall development, okay, or availability of food and nutrition to every individual, connected with the SDG 1 in the conclusion. SDG इसीलिए याद करने SDG, you can absolutely use it, और भी बहुत यूज हो सकता है like in the upcoming questions as well. Then 5C, 5th C, human migration is a reflection of the balance between push and pull factors. Elaborate with reference to most recent diaspora. Elaborate with reference to most recent diaspora. देखो दो केस है कि ह्यूमन माइग्रेशन इज रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ बैलेंस बिटवीन पुश एंड पुल फैक्टर। अब पुश एंड पुल फैक्टर क्या होता है, तो पुश फैक्टर मतलब सिंपली दोज फैक्टर विच are forcing this individual or group of individual to move away from their region, right? अब ये कुछ भी हो सकते हैं, जैसे कि सॉइल की प्रोडक्टिविटी कम है, एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्शन नहीं हो रहा है, लॉसेस हो रहा है, डिजास्टर्स हो रहे हैं, वॉर्स हो रहे हैं, जीनोसाइड्स हो रहा है किसी रीजन में, या सो इट फोर्सेस इंडिविजुअल टू मूव फ्रॉम देयर नेटिव लैंड बेस लोकेशन, एंड पुल फैक्टर्स आर those are attracting this individual to come over there and stay, like good standard of living, like favorable governmental policy, like stability and peace, like opportunities of employment, like बाकी education and health facilities, right? ये क्या कर रहा है, इसको pull कर रहा है towards its movement. You can start this way with the least principle of migration, because ली ने ये concept दी थी push and pull factor वाली, so least principle of migration, and there reflect how migration is result of push and pull factor. You just need to, by quoting examples, say this way, like for example, just a most recent diaspora. Now Indians are the most migratory people, right? Indians are internationally most migratory people, और इनफैक्ट इंडिया में आज भी 350 मिलियन पीपल्स आर माइग्रेटरी, बिकॉज कि वो उनके नेटिव प्लेस से कहीं दूर रह रहे हैं, ठीक है, माइग्रेटरी ना। अब इसको कैसे कनेक्ट करोगे पुश एंड पुल फैक्टर से, यू विल फाइंड कि दोज इंडियंस दोज हु हैव माइग्रेटेड टू यूरोप एंड अमेरिका, नाउ ओवर हियर दे आर नॉट गेटिंग इनफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज फॉर एम्प्लॉयमेंट, not getting enough innovation, they are having lots of kind of say disturbance, maybe religious extremism, maybe that way, right? Pollution, Delhi में है तो pollution है, या maybe or rest of the part of India as well. So these are all push factor for them, while pull factor working for them is in America, better employment opportunities, easy and flexible visas, good standard of living. Okay, all these attracts like the pull factors towards them. Yes, just case study ले लो, explain कर दो, you will find say how human migration is a reflection of balance between push and pull factors. Then that this theory that we started to discuss with the has Malthusian theory has been discredited in contemporary times. Justify your answer. ना माल्थस थ्योरी क्या है, पहले इंट्रोडक्शन में तो ये लिखना होगा कि फैक्ट्स अबाउट माल्थस थ्योरी, व्हाट माल्थस बिलीव्स इन. माल्थस वाज a supporter of population contraction. He was like say human, or there should be a need for population control, because if population allowed to grow at its natural pace, it tends to absorb all economic gain, and hence like population grows at geometric means, right? Population जो grow हो रही है वो geometric means से हो रही है, और food production या resources वो जो grow हो रहा है वो है arithmetic means. And hence there is need for positive checks and preventive checks or negative checks. तो अब आपको अगर इसकी रिलीवेंस पूछी है, क्वेश्चन सिंपली पूछ रहा है रिलीवेंस ऑफ माल्थस थ्योरी, you need to take a stand at first. Really what you think Malthus theory is credited or not, or it is justifiable in the contemporary time or not, okay, and then your opinion. Like you can take yes, you can take no in the introduction or maybe in between, right? You have to take a stand, and then अगर आपने stand लिया yes, तो you have to prove this fact कि population जो growth हो रही है वो geometric mean से हो रही है. You can consider a case of Africa, right? Food resources या production की जो growth हो रही है वो comparatively slow है, not even arithmetic but comparatively slow है. Like there is a support like for positive checks as well, positive checks in a sense war, COVID-19 as epidemics, okay, or maybe different genocides and migration. However, negative checks are not in that way. So in that case you have to support yes, और अगर आपको no करना है just counter this factor. Then you need to counter each of these factors, and then yeah, just accordingly conclude your answer. Conclude in the sense, thus Malthus theory has having many exceptions to deal with. It is not right to conclude that Malthus theory is 100% applicable on real time basis. However, it still find its relevance. Thus done hai? Yeah. So the way it's like what question is asking you for and the kind of content you are having for, बस आपको उसी according उसको answer करना है. Then discuss the different types of polarization induced spatial inequalities and imbalances associated with the growth poles. देखो यहाँ पे सबसे पहले कंसेप्ट में है 10 मार्कर क्वेश्चन है, राइट? हाँ या 10 मार्कर. So in that case what you have to first you have to understand this fact what it means by growth pole. ये राइट करना पड़ेगा ना growth pole, क्योंकि देखो क्वेश्चन पूछ क्या रहा है, discuss different types of polarization induced spatial inequalities and imbalances associated with growth poles. First you need to write about growth pole, what it means by growth pole. There you have to mention two names, Perox and Bordwille. These two are the proponent, actually contributed for the development of growth pole theory. अब जब ये केस है तो you have to just in short also need to write what is the core proposition of the theory. It simply believes in that not all of your location, not all of your regions are having the potential to achieve development at the same place. क्या आपका हर कोई रीजन, हर कोई जो एरियाज है या सेक्टर है, it cannot achieve the development at a same rate, and that's why you have to identify first the potential areas of development, कि जो आपको potential areas होंगे, and then what you have to, okay, then you have to allocate most of your resources there. कि मान लो जैसे for example what in second 5-year plan Government of India identified छोटा नागपुर प्लेटू region as potential center जहाँ पे resources ज़्यादा है, growth potential है, so allow the resources to grow there so that छोटा नागपुर प्लेटू अगर grow होगा, you will find later on see later regions, okay, just could be developed, and in the छोटा नागपुर प्लेटू बोकारो, धनबाद, दुर्गापुर, राउरकेला, okay, all those are growth pole centers. So ये development हो गया, and then ultimately after some time the whole region will be developed. That is what the growth pole theory. But ड्यू टू दिस पर्टिकुलर प्रैक्टिस कि आपको पहले एक पोटेंशियल सेंटर को प्रमोट करना है और बाकी को छोड़ देना है, यू नो व्हाट इट देन लीड टू सम इनइक्वालिटीज, स्पेशल इनइक्वालिटीज, एंड इन व्हाट टर्म्स यू विल फाइंड इट लीड टू स्पेशल इनइक्वालिटीज कि रीजन में इम्बैलेंस होगा. इवन इन छोटा नागपुर प्लेटू रीजन यू विल फाइंड सम इम्बैलेंसेस, देयर आर सम डेवलपमेंटल इम्बैलेंस और डिफिशिएंट एज वेल. रिच एंड पुअर के बीच में होगा, कैपिटलिस्ट एंड यू नो लेबर क्लास के बीच हो जाएगा. देन cultural differences as well. It may lead to urban and rural as a two different cultural continuum or differences. Then resource deficit, environmental deficit, economical inequality and political inequality. Because the region that promotes more growth, that contributes more for economy, is having larger say to consider. However, for the region that is underdeveloped, फिर comparatively उसका involvement, political voice comparatively weaker होता है. So, yeah, it leads to this kind of inequalities as in. So, for that matter, guys, you first need to understand the context of this question कि growth pole theory क्या है, and then you can absolutely connect with. And in the conclusion, how we can minimize this inequality. Okay, in the conclusion, just try to minimize this inequality. Next question. Explain the problems and prospects of urban expansion in the context of urban fringe in developed and developing nations. 15 to last week. Sorry, it must be for 20 marks. Sorry, 20 marks. अब देखो क्वेश्चन क्या पूछ रहा है. क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है फॉर अर्बन फ्रिंज रीजन. क्वेश्चन तो यूनिट है सेटलमेंट, population and settlement. Okay, paper 1 unit 8 population and regional development planning and model study. So unit 8 population settlement, and there you will find the topic of settlement, urban settlement, a concept of urban fringe. What is urban fringe? Urban fringe is what? It is simply a peripheral zone in the urban area that is semi-urban in nature, or that is now developing, you know, like overlapping influence on urban rural areas. That is not truly urban, that is not truly rural as well. However, urban area is now trying to encroach upon the area of this particular region. जैसे आपने देखा होगा, देखो आपके भी सराउंडिंग में गाइस, राइट, देयर इज लाइक आउटसाइड, या जहाँ पे एयरपोर्ट लोकेटेड होगा, जहाँ पे सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट डंपिंग ग्राउंड्स होगा, या जहाँ पे कोई एक आउटसाइड इन्फ्लुएंशियल एक्टिविटी होगी जो कि सिटी में नहीं करेंगे हम, इंडस्ट्रीज लोकेटेड होगी साइड पेरिफेरल में. दिस इज व्हाट अर्बन फ्रिंज एरिया, फ्रिंज इन द सेंस आउटसाइड, राइट, दैट वे. So urban fringe area, there you will find, say, this region is having number of problems and number of prospects. And what in the context of developed and developing nations, both, this question is asking you for. This question is asking you for both these cases. Now, what the case then? See, introduction, define first urban fringe. Urban fringe क्या है? Okay, and its origin with diagram. This diagram you need to draw there. You will find the more visible in what book itself, right? तो यहाँ पे देख भी नहीं भी लगा होगा, but still. So urban fringe, and then you will find, see what are the problems this urban areas or urban fringe are experiencing as. जैसे for example, most of the urban areas or fringe, they are experiencing a land use change. एग्रीकल्चर लैंड होगी रूरल है, अब क्या हो गया, वो है अर्बन लैंड में ट्रांसफॉर्म. सो डिफॉरेस्टेशन, क्या पोल्यूशन ऑफ द पोल्यूशन, यू विल फाइंड ए चेंजिंग लाइफस्टाइल देयर, changing lifestyle, migration, increase land rent and prices, then it's like a solid waste management grounds बन गए, pollution, and these are sometimes became the homes for crimes and criminal activities. Yes, ये अर्बन फ्रिंज एरिया अगर दिल्ली में भी देखोगे तो दिल्ली की पेरिफेरल पार्ट जो है, अब तो खैर फिर भी अब कन्वर्बेशन बन गया दिल्ली, बट फिर भी आउटसाइड एरियाज में जो ट्रांजिशन होता है दो सिटीज के बीच, जोन ऑफ क्राइम्स एंड क्रिमिनल एक्टिविटी. यस, तो ये है अर्बन फ्रिंज, इसके प्रॉब्लम. हाउएवर देयर आर मेनी प्रॉस्पेक्ट भी है, पॉजिटिव्स भी है. इन अ सेंस इट हेल्प्स टू रिलीज मेन अर्बन रीजन ऑफ इट्स लोड, क्योंकि अगर सब पॉपुलेशन अर्बन सेंटर में आएगी, यू विल फाइंड ओवरबर्डन, राइट. इट हेल्प्स टू सस्टेन और इंक्रीज द कैरिंग कैपेसिटी ऑफ अर्बन एरिया. It helps to promote the modern means of livelihood in rural areas as well. It helps to improve the productivity of the land and ultimately say somehow sustainable development of cities. Disaster vulnerability reduce होती है, बहुत सारे cases हैं prospect. And then in conclusion, how to make urban fringe areas free of problem and to use best of their prospects available or opportunities. वे फॉरवर्ड आएगा कंक्लूजन में, दैट दिस इज हाउ, और वी शुड देन प्रमोट ओके द प्रॉपर रीजनल प्लानिंग और अर्बन प्लानिंग, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ सैटेलाइट टाउन, द बेटर अर्बन फ्रिंज गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर एंड सोसाइटल एंड कम्युनिटी पार्टिसिपेशन जस्ट टू एंश्योर द minimization of the problems there and promotion, okay, or the betterment of all opportunities. Done. Yeah, this is what this urban fringe wala concept. Then what is the relation between gender equity and human development? Provide a list of commonly used gender related indices. 15 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन है, एंड आई बिलीव इजी टू आंसर क्वेश्चन है. कि क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है कि जेंडर इक्विटी, ओके, हाउ इट लीड्स टू ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट. तो सबसे पहले देखो इंट्रोडक्शन, तो आई बिलीव कि ये यहीं से आ जाएगा. पहले टॉपिक है हमारा पर्सपेक्टिव इन ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी, देयर यू विल फाइंड ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स. ओके, तो HDI के टॉपिक के अंदर ये क्वेश्चन है, पर्सपेक्टिव इन ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी, सेक्शन बी, यूनिट 6. What is the relation between gender equity? Now you need to define first gender equity is what it means. Now gender equity is simply like the principle or the phenomena where all genders are considered equal without any discrimination of place, say consideration or any kind of bias between them. There men, women and even transgenders are considered equal. Yeah, that is what gender equity. अब जेंडर इक्विटी ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट को कैसे सपोर्ट करेगा? यस, तो जेंडर इक्विटी अगर होगी, यू विल फाइंड इट वुड रादर प्रमोट द फीलिंग ऑफ फर्स्ट satisfaction of that इंडिविजुअल और दैट ग्रुप टूवर्ड्स सोसाइटी, जो कि डेवलपमेंट के तरफ ले जाएगा, राइट. ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट, you can connect over here behaviorism, you can connect over mental map as well. Okay, then it then lead to economic participation of them. It helps to education and health improvement of them. It then lead to increase in their decision making power, जो कि फिर से ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट ले जा रहा है. It helps to contribute, right, say then for efficiency as well, yeah, and human development. you will find these are all those aspects to which, okay, gender equity is one of the tool to achieve human development. क्वेश्चन यही पूछ रहा है, how simply gender equity leads to human development, and yes, this is how those ways by which we can improve or we can achieve human development. Gender equity, यहाँ पे रिस्पेक्टिव डेटा डालो या रिस्पेक्टिव एग्जाम्पल डालो, यू विल फाइंड दैट इज रियली अप्रिशिएटेड. देन ज्योग्राफी से कनेक्ट करना है इसको, यू विल फाइंड फेमिनिज्म से कनेक्ट करो, रेडिकल ज्योग्राफी, वेलफेयर ज्योग्राफी, राइट, एंड मेंटल मैप्स, बिहेवियरिज्म. डन. देखो ज्योग्राफी का आंसर हो गया, जीएस का नहीं हुआ, ज्योग्राफी का आंसर हो गया. ओके, तो दैट वे. एंड देन list of all those indices used for. These are the list of gender inequality index, gender gap index, gender development index, gender parity index, women peace and security index, ठीक है, gender equality index, maternal mortality ratio, child marriage rate, labor force participation rates and gender wage gap. जितने भी याद आ सकते हैं you can write it over there. Simply question is asking for a list of those possible, right? Explain करना नहीं है इनको, इनमें सिर्फ what we have to just mention those. Then question 6C, explain population, resource use and development nexus in the limits to growth model. Why has this model been criticized intensively? Question is of economic geography, and on the most favorite question of UPSC there, limits to growth model, जो कि say you will find most important है, already been asked in 2018, 2009, 2003 or maybe in between the connection, and you need to connect it wherever it is further possible. So question is asking you for, see, what is limits to growth model? Limits to growth model in 1972 it was proposed as a means of neo-deterministic model, or like a model of neo-Malthusian nature. That is also known as neo-Malthusian model. And what according to this model, say human population, resource, pollution, industrial base and food resources, they are all having some limitations to growth, and if you are undermining those considerations, you will lose the growth potential. Then so in case of like limits to growth model particularly, you will find कि वहाँ पे 5 डिस्कस एरिया डिस्कस है, जैसे कि यहाँ पे you will find resources, resource use, then food per capita, industrial per capita, you will find development nexus, okay, population and pollution, you will find population वाला केस यहाँ पे. So 5 different areas tagged under like say different assumption, and there are 5 different runs over there, okay, and basic assumptions. So limits to growth model was actually proposed by a Forster and Meadows in 1970s. ठीक है, MIT Massachusetts Institute of Technology के professor थे, and say one of them like and his pupil had presented this particular model. Now according to this model, say resources are going to exhaust like Malthus supposed, right? Just like, and if we fail to modify the resources in a stipulated time, we will lose our potential for growth. That is what this limit to growth model. And now question is theoretical nature, asking you for explain population, resource use and developmental nexus in limits to growth model. So over here you need to explain how population, resource use and development and their interrelationship, taking say wide, okay, examples. As many examples you just can have, right? You just could write there that how population, resource base and development has lead to a limits to growth wala case. Then why this model being criticized intensively? Then write criticisms over there, and you guys must be like, कि आपने स्टडी किया भी होगा और नहीं भी किया हो तो यू विल गेट टू नो, राइट. Criticisms of this limits to growth models are like this model is neo-Malthusian nature. It believes in population बहुत ज़्यादा इंक्रीज हो जाएगी एंड रिसोर्सेज बहुत कम होंगे, जबकि ऐसे नहीं होगा. इट वाज लाइक कि बाय 2030-40 ये जो कोल है वो एंड हो जाएगा, बट दैट वाज नॉट अ केस. विद टाइम यू विल फाइंड न्यू टेक्नोलॉजीज व्हाट इवॉल्व एंड देन से न्यू जनरेशंस आर रिसोर्सेज आर क्रिएटेड. सो like there are many criticisms because it is trying to have model based approach. It is what having model based approach. Second, it try to misconcept, okay, or try to somehow misread the relation between population, resources and development that is so complex in nature, Then next to it, it ignored the true role of technology, though it considered to some extent. However, जो टेक्नोलॉजी का जो रोल है वो पूरा समझ नहीं आया, क्योंकि यू विल फाइंड लाइक अकॉर्डिंग टू जेलेंस्की रिसोर्सेज आर नॉट, दे आर क्रिएटेड. रिसोर्सेज आर नॉट, दे आर क्रिएटेड. इट मीन्स दैट ये रिसोर्सेज कोई रिसोर्स नहीं होते जब तक उसको ह्यूमन यूज में नहीं लाता. तो simply it is simply that humanistic understanding of resources. However, resources are not, they are created. They tend to neglect the human capacity to develop new resources and it just rely on the available or natural means of resources. Though जैसे कि lithium batteries, देखो lithium batteries we were not aware about like by 70s that we could use lithium as like a source or hydrogen as like source of energy in the future. So that doesn't matter then petrol है या नहीं हमारे पास. by the time the petrol would end, you will find we would rather shifted on hydrogen or maybe lithium batteries then. तो resources क्या हो गए, अपने आप managed हो गए. yeah, so this limits to growth model is so pessimistic in nature, and like it try to create a picture that nothing can restrain the human disaster on the earth surface. And that is what this limits to growth model, that's why it was criticized a lot. And आज के डेट में भी देखो हम आज भी अभी भी हमारे पास इतना कोल है that we can survive say for few decades further. Okay, so that is the way. But still, yeah, you have to write on the positive tone this one. Then 7th A वाला part, 7th A. Okay, go to this question guys. Easy है, theoretical है and repeated है number of times. Explain with suitable diagram August Losh model of the theory of location related to central places. Why has this been criticized? Same question was asked in 2016, 2011, 2002 and on number of instances. Okay, maybe your board on Losh theory. तो देखो अब इंट्रोडक्शन क्या होगा. देखो ये क्वेश्चन है आई बिलीव theoretical in nature और टॉपिक यू मस्ट बी अवेयर अबाउट यूनिट दैट इज मॉडल्स, theories and laws in human geography. yes, model, theories and laws in human geography. उसी टॉपिक से ये क्वेश्चन पूछा है. बहुत स्ट्रेट, बहुत क्लियर. ओके, एंड लाइक यू गाइज मस्ट रिमेंबर दिस काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. क्योंकि ऐसे क्वेश्चन पे अगर हम सोचने लगेंगे तो फिर एग्जाम में you won't be able to cover the paper just within the stipulated time. You need to partly memorize some facts, okay, or some areas of this particular question or theory. Loss theory, stellar theory, von Thunen's theory, limits to growth model, Malthus theory, mass population theory और general system. बहुत सारे theories है. You have to. So started with the Losh model of, and then rightly set the context. He presented his model based on the studies in Germany then he was like relying more on demand based supply rather demand based model rather than supply based model of crystallar, and then he tried to identify the center places just keeping like some objectives as in जो कि main body पे तरफ जाएगा. Objectives in a sense it is what looking for to identify the best possible location of center place, which region just would result into the best possible center place. Assumptions as there are many assumptions like Earth's surface is isotropic in nature, man is highly rational and economic in nature, say the development of market is demand based rather than supply based, and like few others areas like there should be no overlapping, and hence hexagonal area or shape is most preferable for him, and hence he developed the model or process of development of center place. There you need to go through this theory again, ठीक है, एक बार फिर से देख लें आपको, and then what are the points of applicability of this theory, to what extent this theory is applicable to find out the center place. So center place, so you can use it like in Europe you will find that is applicable, you will find that is in North America that is applicable partly, even in Asia and other parts of the country world. However, this criticized, right, as this theory has faced lots of criticism, lots of in a sense. This theory is what having like it is of quantitative revolution nature, तो obvious है उस regard में उस पे criticism होगा that it is what consider man as highly rational economy, it consider demand as the sole factor rather than supply, because supply equally matters. It divides the city into number of complex region की जहाँ पे diagrams भी presentation भी समझ नहीं आएगा, and it is very difficult to implement this whole concept on ground. So these are what loss limitations, center place location. Okay, you need to go through this theory again, right? और ये याद करना है आपको सीधे सीधे points at like those are straightforward questions. In conclusion, thus though even Losch or the center place theory has many criticisms to face, it has found or it has had the element of center place and its understanding into the geographical subject matter. Yeah, conclusion. किसी भी चीज़ को हमको criticize नहीं करना है. We always have to look in such a way that it has contributed for development of any particular or sub-geography subject. Then, how can sustainable land management harmonize the complementary goals of environmental, economic and social opportunities discussed? So, first you need to write there sustainable land management. What it means by sustainable land management. Sustainable land management definition defined as the use of land resources including soils, water, animals and plants for the production of goods to meet changing human needs while simultaneously ensuring the long-term productive potential of these resources and the maintenance of their environmental functions. So, it is not only about today's use, but sustainable land management practices as well deal with the future use of land resources. And what exactly you will find this sustainable land use management, like it deals with the number of areas, right? And how then it promotes economic, environmental and cultural, economic, environmental and social cultural opportunities. Social cultural opportunities over there. तो फिर ये कैसे करेगा? I believe here SDGs come into picture. Those 17 SDGs will help you, right, to connect how sustainable land use ensure achievement of SDGs. सस्टेनेबल लैंड यूज हो तो हंगर, ग्लोबल हंगर कैसे इरेडिकेट हो सकता है, एम्प्लॉयमेंट फॉर ऑल कैसे हो सकता है, सस्टेनेबल ओशन एंड रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट कैसे हो सकता है, लाइवलीहुड कैसे हो सकता है, देन मैरीन डेवलपमेंट कैसे हो सकता है, इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट कैसे हो सकता है, ऑल यू हैव टू ओके लाइक दिस वे. Sustainable land use, how it promote the global partnership and accessibility, that way. Okay, so having okay or simply you can use SDGs over there, that is a form of neoliberalism, okay, or like environmentalism or like welfare geography, you can connect it with this way. Very easy to, and absolutely, you know, if you are able to write all SDGs and that way, not all but at least connected one, तो आप देखोगे कि ये बहुत इफेक्टिव आंसर होगा आपका. एंड देन इन कंक्लूजन, दस वर्ल्ड नीड्स सस्टेनेबल लैंड यूज मैनेजमेंट as the most efficient practice that needs to be percolated in all policy making projects, or simply like in all policy making tools. Then the stages of demographic transition are a reflection of uneven economic development across the globe. अब for this matter you must be aware about कि demographic transition क्या है, right? अब demographic transition मतलब इसमें simply बताया कि this theory is given by Nordstrom and Stamp. And according to them, any society, it went through different stages of demographic transition. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5. And like in this stage, he defined it mainly based on birth rate and death rate. So demography में changes हो रहे हैं ना, demography basis पे. You will find in the initial or first stage, birth rate बहुत ज़्यादा रहेगा, death rate भी बहुत ज़्यादा रहेगा. In the next stage, birth rate you will find remain high, however death rate declines faster. So birth rate भी decline होगा, and this two will rather overlap, and at the next stage maybe birth rate goes in negative territory and death rate remains somehow in the same territory. So this then you will find all different countries in the world in the different stages of this transition. कोई कंट्री स्टेज 1 में है, कोई स्टेज 2 में है, कोई स्टेज 3 में है, कोई स्टेज 4 में है, कोई स्टेज 5 में है. एंड व्हाट दिस क्वेश्चन इज आस्किंग फॉर, द स्टेजेस ऑफ डेमोग्राफिक ट्रांजिशन आर ए रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ uneven economic development across the globe. Explain with suitable example. There you need then to there we need to write about see how those different stages are reflection of inequalities and hence the changes in this demographic stages of time. कैसे change होंगे, you have to connect it with this way. फिर एग्जाम्पल ले सकते हो बांग्लादेश का, एग्जाम्पल ले सकते हो अफ्रीका का, एग्जाम्पल ले सकते हो यूरोप का, एग्जाम्पल ले सकते हो नॉर्थ अमेरिका एंड डिफरेंट. यू फाइंड कि इट सिंपली रिफ्लेक्ट ए डिफरेंशियल स्टेजेस और अनइवन इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ डेवलपमेंट अक्रॉस द ग्लोब. फाइन. देन लास्ट क्वेश्चन इन अ सेंस के 8 क्वेश्चंस are like this is what the last of all those 8 questions. Then rural settlements are expression of the basic relationships between human beings and their physical and social environment. This statement is a reflection of deterministic philosophy. है ना, ये रूरल सेटलमेंट ये रिफ्लेक्शन है क्या, ह्यूमन और फिजिकल सोशल एनवायरनमेंट. नॉट एग्जैक्टली डिटर्मिनिस्टिक बट या यू विल फाइंड दैट इज मोर और लेस लाइक न्यू डिटर्मिनिस्टिक नेचर. जहाँ पे रूरल सेटलमेंट ये जो डेवलप हो रहे हैं, इट इज बेस्ड ऑन हाउ ह्यूमन एंड human chatter. Yes, am I audible now? Yes, problem is now being resolved. Okay, sure. So, rural settlements are expression of the basic relationships between human and physical, human beings and their physical and social environment. Discuss. I am just able to see those chats now. Yes. FIFA migration of people from Azerbaijan to Armenia from Karabakh. हाँ, yeah, exactly. You can connect it with that way as well. Yes. Azerbaijan और Armenia का जो issue चल रहा है, you can absolutely connect it with that way as well. Okay. So this, how to start this answer? Okay. So this one, let's just start with how settlement is the result of human and physical relationship. Yes. There you need to write about how the settlement as a whole is a reflection of humans' adaptations and nature's development, okay, to the human need over a region. Like ऐसे भी नहीं करना कि human ही inferior है and nature ही superior है, right? Not in that way. The question is trying to keep a balance. So you will find rural settlement is rather a reflection of human and its physical environment relationship. Connect it with the cultural landscape also, right? वो भी connect कर सकते हो, I will be that way. Then body, write how rural settlements are reflections of human and topography, क्योंकि physical environment तो ऐसे ही आएगा ना उसका, human and topography, because human want to settle at such location that is plain in nature, that leads to more production and fertility, that keeps him safe, like in mountain and terrain region, that keeps him, you know, safe from predator species. Yeah. So in that case you will find, like, it defines the location and place of rural settlement. अब पर्टिकुलर में रूरल एरियाज देखेंगे. अब इसमें सिर्फ इंडिया में लोकेट मत करना, try to locate all, say from all across the world, North America, Africa, South America, Europe, so, say any other part of Asia. So then how human and climate lead to rural settlement, you will find, like say for example in the region of evergreen climate, say human needs are such that it need to keep itself protected because there are diversity of animals there. So predator species का भी हो सकता है या attack का भी case हो सकता है. So dense population or a nucleated settlement with intricate morphology is the result. Then human and coastal ecology, you will find dispersed population and type of rural herds. Then human and agriculture, soil productivity, density define करेगा, nucleated and dispersed population or settlement. Then cultures of the human, that is itself reflection of physical and environment relationship of the human with surrounding. Like patriarchal mindset हो तो society या rural settlement एक particular type होगा. जैसे मेघालय, गारो खासी जयंत, you will find some different types of settlement than the rest of the India. और मे बी मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड अगर होगा तो रूरल सेटलमेंट कुछ और होगा, जैसे यूरोप एंड अमेरिका, हाउसेस आर स्पेशियस हाउसेस, या बेस्ड ऑन देयर लैंड पैटर्न. सो एंड इन ओरिएंटल कल्चर लाइक इन इंडिया, चाइना, यू विल फाइंड हाउसेस आर कंपैरेटिवली ऑफ अ डिफरेंट वे. सो दैट वे एज वेल. you will find resource and human. Exactly. अगर water resources के around अगर culture developed हो रहा है या settlement developed हो रही है, you will find के generally it then lead to circular pattern of settlement. ये है water lake या water well and you will find circular settlement then human and administration, then disaster and human. Yeah, you can connect with how this human and its relation with the physical environment makes this thing possible. Then, however, this relationship is not always straight and plain as we have explained or as we think. This is rather changes with space and time. Yeah? And then, like you can conclude it on the same line, they maybe have some different way to conclude. But yes, absolutely, rural settlements are reflections of human beings and their physical and social environment. Then, second last question. Okay. Describe the concept of planning region. Explain the environmental and economic factors in creation of such regions. Now, see what first you need to question introduction आपको दे दिया है. Define planning region. So it is very straight and very clear that we need to define planning region. Now, what is a region at first? As we already have discussed, like according to Whittlesey, it is like a differentiated settlement of Earth's surface. And where like planning region is what? Simply that particular region or area on which some economic decisions are supposed to apply. Yeah? And that it makes this region say pretty much interesting or pretty much important then for study. Planning regions may be administrative or political regions such as state, district, block, because such regions are better in management and for collecting statistical data. अब क्वेश्चन क्या पूछ रहा है? चलो डिस्क्राइब तो हमने दे दिया प्लानिंग रीजन. एक्सप्लेन द एनवायरमेंटल एंड इकोनॉमिक फैक्टर्स इन क्रिएशन ऑफ सच रीजन. Now what you need to understand over here, what how in identification of such a planning region, maybe nation, maybe state, maybe district, maybe rural areas, maybe urban areas, maybe metropolitan cities, see how and which environmental factors and which economic factors are responsible for this identification. If जैसे for example, जैसे for Delhi, Delhi is national capital region. So which factors or environmental factors you have to consider to define the boundaries of this NCR, right? क्योंकि किसी भी रीजन की बाउंड्री मतलब आपको बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स कंसीडर करने होंगे तभी आपको एक फाइनल आउटपुट मिलेगा. सी जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल यू विल फाइंड एनी प्लानिंग रीजन और एनी रीजन इज नॉट अ सोल रीजन एज इट. यू हैव टू कंसीडर मेनी फैक्टर, कल्चर, पॉलिटिकल, एनवायरमेंटल, इकोनॉमिक, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव, हिस्टोरिकल और मेनी अनदर फैक्टर, और इन सब का ओवरलैपिंग जोन होके एक रीजन बनेगा. दैट इज अ प्लानिंग रीजन. दैट इज ए planning region. So over here question is asking you for focus only on environmental and economic factor. Now which are those environmental factors then we will use for development or identification of like New York, Tokyo, yeah, any other city, yeah, maybe any other region for development. That ecosystem stability over in the region. Huh? How, what is the level of ecosystem stability and how long it is supposed to ensure? Resource balance, carrying capacity of the region, to what extent resource can carry the population, yeah, or area can sustain the population of biotic and abiotic mode. Then disaster and its preparedness. All these ecological factor you can add on own, right, are needed to be considered, say for identification of planning region. Then what are the economic factor? Then your answer should look like geographical answer. Environment में भी दिखना चाहिए, economics में भी दिखना चाहिए. right? Which are those economic factors? Like first, economic indicator, GDP, GNP, per capita income and all of those, right? Okay, whether that area is having that enough GDP, GNP to calculate for. अगर नहीं होगा तो फिर क्या होगा? You will find it lead to differentiation, disintegration. जैसे कि there is now demand for many states further, स्टेट विथ इन स्टेट, कि जैसे महाराष्ट्र देखोगे तो विदर्भा की डिमांड है, मराठवाड़ा की डिमांड है, या बंगाल देखोगे तो गोरखा लैंड की डिमांड है, या बिहार देखोगे तो वहाँ पे मैथिली लैंड की डिमांड है. सो देर आर मेनी स्टेट्स दोज आर फर्दर आर नाउ ट्राइंग टू बी हैविंग द डिमांड टू गेट having a separate state further. Then whether that planning region has enough economic rent to offer, whether that planning region has sustainable land use pattern, again economic aspect, or maybe environmental aspect में भी डाल सकते हो. Range and threshold of goods, that is according to Weber's industrial location model. What exactly, right? तो वो उस theory में आपने देखा रहेगा, right? हो भी जाएगा in fact. Then industrial processing, marketing, labor, administration, all these factors, and mobility and migration, all these factors you need to consider while defining any planning region. अगर किसी region को अगर define कर रहे हो, right, or maybe if you are trying to look for new state of Telangana, then you have to consider all these factors, like those economic and environmental at least. And not only this, अब ये तो क्वेश्चन is asking us for economic and environmental, but does that mean हम सिर्फ दो ही फैक्टर देंगे? No, we have to write this fact कि though there are economic and environmental factors are being asked, but there are other factors are as well needs to be considered, like political, cultural, administrative, historical, and then draw this Venn diagram and then conclusion. Thus, geographer as a regional planner need to consider environment and economic factor like at a priority, however other factors into consideration to arrive at the best possible planning region or best possible central place location or the best possible industrial location. जो भी कुछ लिख सकते हो, it's up to you. And then the last, I personally like this question, this wala, right, planning region wala. I personally like this question because it is more analytical in nature. And the most commonly asked question, boundaries and frontiers, have different meanings in geographical literature. Number of times on this case question were already asked, on. तो पहले तो आपको पता होना चाहिए like कि boundaries और frontier का difference क्या है. And then yes, as question is asking you for geographical literature, थोड़ा सा odd question है वैसे ये, तो still like Robert Kaplan in his Revenge of Geography, he mentioned like this. Okay, it's good to start क्योंकि geographical literature पूछ रहा है तो book से start कर दो. तो man-made border that does not match a natural frontier zone is particularly vulnerable. This is what Robert Kaplan's understanding about border and frontier. Because question is asking you for boundaries and frontier had different meanings in geographical literature. Then ये introduction हो गया, main body से start करो, explain first the meaning and difference between the two, taking the example of different literature, जबकि ज़्यादा नहीं होंगे but फिर भी. The geography of frontiers and boundaries by R.V. Prescott or the prisoners of geography, or if you have any other example, and then conclude it with like say the boundaries and frontiers are having very different meaning over a different space and time, and it's a right way or there is a necessity to understand the true meaning and difference between boundaries and frontiers. Then, yeah? So this is what this 8C question, most time this question was as such asked, and yes, we all need to remember this question and like the very framework of this particular question. I believe question paper तो easy था, बहुत ज़्यादा difficult तो नहीं होगा, and having as many repetitive questions as well. कुछ बहुत सारे questions repetitive थे, and if you are well prepared for, you can absolutely answer all those questions. So anyone any kind of doubt? I just try to keep this session like just like concise for 2 hours only, क्योंकि उससे ज़्यादा अगर होगा तो you guys would rather feel कि बहुत ज़्यादा extensive हो जाएगा, lengthy हो जाएगा. Yes, thank you, Nandini. So, I hope then you guys are now having yeah, pretty much clarity. So, those topics, those areas which we have covered. Yeah, tomorrow we'll be again having geography optional paper 2, जिसमें हम फिर paper 2 में कैसे हम geographical answer add करेंगे, and then some interesting questions over there as well. So we'll be discussing those questions then. Yes. So sure. Yes. Thank you, Nandini, Divya, Afifa. Sanjana and all you guys, in fact, for like having your presence over here and like waiting for this long just to this session to conclude. Sure. Yes. Thank you and wish you all the best.